Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everybody to Ways and Means Committee meeting for January 15th. And our first item is roll call, please.
Mr. Stockton?
Present.
Mr. Fanton?
Here.
Mrs. Burdick?
Here.
Mr. Demick?
Here.
Mr. Havey?
Here.
Mr. Healy?
Here.
Mr. Ricky?
Here.
Mrs. Root? And Mr. Harris. 7 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. First item is 3 items from our clerk of the board. Brenda?
Yes, the first item is a request to change our second board meeting in February from Wednesday, February 26th to Thursday, February 27th, to allow legislators to attend the annual NISAC Legislative Conference.
Matt will move that.
Havey will second.
Pretty routine piece of action. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried.
The next item is I'm requesting a resolution to accept a check in the amount of $3,581.12 from NYMER. This is represents the cost less a $500 deductible to repair a 24 Chevy Silverado that was, actually it was damaged when our excavator struck the truck on November 13th.
Ricky will move. Demick will second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried.
And also, I'm requesting a resolution to accept a check in the amount of $17,675.07. This is to repair our 2020 Kenworth haul truck that was damaged when the truck caught on fire on November 27th.
He'll move it.
Ricky second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pinch hitting.
Pinch hitting, but this one also concerns my office as well. This is our continuing audit services. This is the annual renewal with Drescher and Malecki to provide the pre-audit that then I sign off on before it comes to this board.
We have a motion?
Fan will move it.
Vertical second.
Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. While you're up here,
I've got a few more. The next MOE is for a services agreement with Snow Hill, Inc. for lawn care and snow and ice removal out at the Park and Ride and Crossroads Conference Center. This was previously bid. It included, the bid packet included the possibility of extension years, so this is within the terms of the bid. And this is something that we do get reimbursement for through our mobility management funds, so.
Demick will move that.
Havey will second.
questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried.
The next one I have is requesting a resolution to designate myself as the certified environmental review officer for all of our CDBG grants. We do have, I think we're up to 4 of them at the moment, including the housing study one we just did.
Fan will move it.
Vertical second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried.
The next one is a big one. This would be the application of up to $4.5 million in 5311 funding. This also goes towards mobility management and all things related to mobility management, some of the projects that we've been working on. This one does say the county share is 80%. I actually think that might be reversed on that. So.
Demick will move that.
He'll second.
Questions?
Yes, can you just break that down? How much are we on the hook for then? 20% of the 4.5 million? And we put the money up first and then get reimbursed? That's the way I read it.
Gwen can probably better explain. I'll have her come up and tell you how this actually works.
So it's 10%. It's broken down 80% federal, 10% state, and 10% local.
So that's what, 450,000 then?
Yes.
County share?
And we can break down the application and the dollar amount a little bit more because when we purchase vehicles, which there's 12 vehicles written in this grant, that is in our contract with our operator. So they're actually responsible for that 10%. So it's less.
I have a question. Is that federal grant already approved?
Already approved? No.
Okay, thank you.
Do you mean approved here or approved by the feds?
Approved by the feds, that was my question.
Concerned about what happens on Monday?
I'm going to say that it probably is already approved by the federal government. The way New York State works is, and it's different in every single state, but for New York State, the money that comes from the federal government goes to the state, and then the state allocates it through them. It doesn't work that way in every state. Sometimes the federal government allocates it directly to a transportation agency. The state is notorious for being behind, so this is a 24-25 contract. So I'm going to assume that the state already has this money and they're ready to allocate it.
Thank you.
They both have different fiscal years also.
Yes.
And then, of course, the state likes to hold on to it and draw the interest on it as long as they can, too. Thank you.
Other questions? All in favor? Opposed? And that's carried.
The next one, request a resolution and approval to revise our Allegheny County Title VI plan. One of the big revisions to this will be including limited English proficiency and language assistance plan. Those are required plans, translation services that we are required to have in that Title VI plan. And we are required to have those to receive most of our federal assistance, including that 5311 grant. So without this, we would probably be ineligible for those grants.
Motion?
Burdick will move.
Hay will second.
Questions? All in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you.
I think that's all I have for you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is the every other month report from the county attorney. And I had asked her for an update on board policy manual. How's that revision coming along? And then you're welcome to ask other questions, or she can share what she would like.
Good afternoon. So we're going to try and keep this in open session today because I do know that we have an upcoming meeting afterward that is attorney-client. So regarding the board rules, unfortunately, I don't have much to update this committee on. We do need to schedule a meeting and get those back at the forefront. Unfortunately, with the new year starting, my office has been bombarded with contracts and preparing resolutions again and kind of doing all the beginning of the year activities that we do. But updating the board rules is definitely something that we need to do. We're also working with the county administrator's office to finalize the ethics local law, and we hope that with the county administrator's office, that will be ready to come before you by the first half of this year for your review and approval. So today what I wanted to do was kind of reorient all of you to some other work that my office does. You're very familiar that my office does the governance work for the board, that we process prepare the resolutions, we process the contracts. One area that we do that we do not talk about a lot is we are the prosecutors of the juvenile delinquency matters for the county. And so last year, we had approximately 45 cases that came through our office that we filed petitions on. So the juvenile delinquency process goes through Article 3 of the Family Court Act, and we get referrals in generally one of three ways. Most of our referrals come through probation. And if they come from probation, they come from one of two ways. Either the youth who has been through probation just did not successfully complete those probation services for whatever offense they committed, and they have to. The last resort is that the offense has to be referred to our office to go to family court. It's called, they didn't complete adjustment services. Or under the law, their offense that if they were adult would be considered a crime does not qualify for probation services, and it has to immediately be petitioned into family court. The third way that we get a case is from the raise the age legislation. So there would be a 16 or 17-year-old. In that case, goes through the youth part with the district attorney's office, and then through those laws, it will come to us through family court. So generally what happens in the very basic process is that we will file a petition. It gets submitted into family court. The youth is assigned an attorney for the child. And then we have all these statutory timelines that we have to go through. And it generally takes, if everything goes well and according to plan, which it always often doesn't, it'll take us about 3 to 4 months to go through the process. So my office works really, really closely with the district attorney's office, with local law enforcement, with probation, with the sheriff's office, and with probation and with social services. We are involved with probation from the outset, talking with them about the cases. If a youth gets placed on probation, if they happen to have a violation of probation, we have to deal with that. Should a youth have to be placed out of their home, which is always the last resort, we're always looking for the least restrictive alternative as their disposition. We work with the Department of Social Services to find the appropriate placement for them as a recommendation. My first assistant, Aaron Moore, is the primary attorney in my office who does all of this work. He's extremely effective. He really knows his laws. The laws that we do have to follow, we have to follow criminal procedure law, we have to follow penal law, we also have to follow the Family Court Act. So it's a lot of provisions that we have to work with and make sure that we understand all of those completely. The ages of the youth that we deal with are anywhere from 12 to 17 years of age. We deal with all socioeconomic groups. And we also have to, deal with, work with the parents. We have to work with the victims. It's not only just doing with the law, but it's also kind of doing a little bit of social work as well. And trying to navigate all the different items that we have. When I spoke with Aaron before I came to talk with you all today, he did say that if you ever have any questions about the process or any questions about, raise the age legislation or any concerns about our how we work with probation or how we work with the Department of Social Services or any of the other county departments, if you ever just want to have a conversation about the juvenile delinquency process in general, he is always happy to speak with you. He'd even be willing to come in at some point and speak with all of you directly if you just let him know that. Unfortunately, we can't talk about specific cases because of all the confidentiality provisions, but it is very important work that we do.
Occasionally, this requires off-duty hours, right? It's outside the normal business hours. Occasionally, you folks have to respond to things.
Yes, sometimes law enforcement does contact Mr. Moore off hours in the evenings if they do pick a youth up and need to ask him a question. Yes, it's not as common as the district attorney's office, but it can happen.
And it'd be the same with if they have to place a youth or something along that line.
That is correct.
If we through your office.
Yes, that is correct.
So raise the age. New York State's one of their great endeavors there. It has only increased your workload, obviously, because now more people are handled in juveniles, especially, are handled in family court than some of which would have been in criminal court before they passed that legislation. And it just enables their negative behavior even more, so.
It has increased our workload. I don't know, I don't have exact numbers as to how much it has increased our workload. But yeah, it has presented some challenges to our office.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for bringing this to us, because this is, as you said, a facet of your job that we really haven't had exposure to in the past. We do appreciate everything you and your office do. My question, I guess, is what do you consider to be a full staff, and how far away from that are you?
So we are at full staff right now. I do have 2 assistant county attorneys, and actually my newest assistant county attorney is getting sworn in to the bar today, this afternoon. So it's a very, very happy day in our office. And I do have 2 support staff. So we do have a full staff of 5.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Pat will move that.
What were we moving?
Yeah,
What were we moving?
the resolution.
Did you have a resolution?
I do not have a resolution. I am just here reporting.
We did that with Carissa.
Okay. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. All right.
If you have any other questions that
I'll
I can
take it
answer
back.
in open session, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
You missed your chance when he was moving
I
something.
know, I
You
should have asked for something big. I should have asked for that car I want.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Is there any unfinished business? New business? Good of the order?
Mr. Chair, just a reminder, we have a special committee of the whole immediately following this meeting.
Thank you. Anything else? Motion to adjourn.
Rick, you move.
Haverhill, second.
All in favor?